Ant-Man and the Wasp is director Peyton Reed's second take on the character of Ant-Man in this world. And this time he did not have any of the taint that the first film might have had from originally being developed by another director, Edgar Wright. And I really enjoyed this movie. It still is a little bit more of a fluffy film than especially the last two Marvel films, but I still loved it.
The only chance we've got is both of you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
So the original Ant-Man was one of my favorites of the Marvel movies, but it's just that it was kind of different. Even though the story, a lot of the parts of the story resembled the original Iron Man, I think a lot of the stuff they did was very different than any of the other Marvel movies. It really felt like its own thing. It was much more comedy and mixed with a heist film, and I enjoyed it a lot. And coming to this one, I had relatively high expectations, and they pretty much were met. I enjoyed this movie a lot. Even though, again, it's, after the last Avengers Infinity War, which was so epic and ended on a pretty kind of sad note, like, you go right into this movie, and I think it's kind of like a great palate cleanser, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm not sure if they really meant it for that, but I think it really works like that. But at the same time, I almost think it might have been better if they released it like in August or September. But like right now, you're still kind of thinking about the Avengers Infinity War. And I think this works as a summer movie, but I think it might work better as like a fall movie or like late summer. But I mean, there's not really that much to complain about this. I mean, I enjoyed it thoroughly. And yeah, there are a lot of stuff that you can nitpick about it. And I think that, the whole setup for this is that, at the end of the first Ant-Man, Paul Rudd goes into the quantum realm and he comes back out. And then when they realize he can come back out, they're like, oh, what if their mom is still alive? Evangeline Lilly's mom and Michael Douglas's wife. That was the original Wasp that was lost in the quantum realm in like the 60s or 50s. Well, maybe later in that, whatever. But 70s. And they want to try to go back and save her. But they have to try to figure out, they're building this like thing to go into the quantum realm that is more controlled than what Paul Rudd did. And this when the shenanigans kind of come. And it's kind of like, that their lab kind of becomes a MacGuffin. But it's a little much with that. They introduce these gangsters with the boss played by Walton Goggins. And this is another kind of waste of Walton Goggins. And I almost wonder if he kind of sucks. Because he's in his last like 3 or 4 roles have all been annoying, mediocre villains. And they're all like the same. So I'm not sure, that's just who his character will be from now on or what. But, people want to buy his lab or buy a stake in it. And, Michael Douglas refuses. So then they were getting like some random thing that they needed to go in the quantum realm, and he didn't want to give it to him. And that when they steal it instead, and then now they're all coming after them. Then you have Ghost that's coming after them, which is a person that was kind of accidentally involved in an explosion by one of Michael Douglas's old people that he worked with him on when he was developing stuff. And when he was fired, he went off and tried to build something, and that resulted in a lot of craziness that resulted in Ghost, which kind of can willfully and unwillfully kind of merge in between realms and can like phase through things. And I like what they did with her character, but she's not enough of a villain, I think. Like, she's much more of a gray villain, and I think that works well. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't have minded a bigger villain other than Walton Goggins. But Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp, I mean, I think she did really well. I love that all the different choreography they have for her, like the fighting style. It was really cool. And, Paul Rudd is great again. He's playing he's a little bit more of the imbecile role he plays in this. But, I mean, I like everything they do with him, and it's a lot of fun. And they bring everyone kind of back from the last one, like his friends are back, and they have stuff to do, and there's a lot of funny stuff with that. But I think that, again, like, the biggest problem is that at a certain point, the group kind of splits up, and some of them go into the quantum realm to try to save the Michelle Pfeiffer as the original Wasp, and the others have to carry around the building that's doing the transportation, and trying to they kind of playing the hot potato with it, while a bunch of the gangsters come after them, and the FBI is involved, and Ghost is there. And I can't help but feel that the whole reason the gangsters are involved in the story is because it gives them someone to fight and someone to chase from and chase. Because if it was just the FBI, when they're punching them and shooting them and their cars are flying around, which will probably result in the passengers' deaths. Like, if they're gangsters, the viewer doesn't really care. But if they're FBI agents, they'd be like, I think they just killed FBI agents. And that wouldn't be good. So, I mean, I think you can feel kind of like the mechanism of the story when the gangsters come into it. I would have liked it to be more. I almost looked at it be like, there is no really any more of the heist angle in this film, and I think because the heist was really Edgar Wright's idea and what he wanted to do, and I kind of miss a little bit of that from the first film. And I miss, like, some of, like, the, even though it was a little bit like Iron Man, having, like, two people with the same powers fighting each other. Like, that is kind of the epic train scene from the first film. There really is nothing like that in this one. I mean, there's some good fight scenes with Ghost, but, I would have liked a little bit more. And I think I would have liked more in the quantum realm, too. Like, I mean, they do some cool things, but, again, I think it's just kind of used, like, it solves all the answers when you put quantum in front of it. And the movie even jokes about that, too. And I think that works, but I think it's just that it could have been better. Like, I mean, I love the film. I really enjoyed everything about it. And I love, that there's also, he's on, Paul Rudd's, like, on house arrest because of his involvement in Civil War. So, like, there's a lot of stuff he has to get back to his house for the FBI to check on him. And there's a lot of really funny stuff with that. And I really enjoy this movie. And it almost doesn't feel like an MCU movie, even though they're superheroes. It feels like it's a fun kind of comedy action film. And as that is great. But I think it just could have been better. And, I'm not sure exactly what you'd change, because this movie has a lot to do, and it also can't really involve it has to end in a certain way for, like, the Avengers film, because, like, this takes place before the Avengers Infinity War, and then, like, the post-credit scene kind of takes place during it, and it has to set up things where, I think one of the characters in this movie will be important for the next Avengers movie. And it does that well. And I enjoyed it a lot. I will say, though, I went to see it in IMAX 3D, and it's great, but I wouldn't say that it's, like, necessary to see it in that. Like, I think I wouldn't have lost that much if I saw it at one of my theaters that, at home, closer to me. Like, it's still awesome seeing it in IMAX. But it's not like Infinity War, where it was filmed in IMAX, and if you're not seeing IMAX, you're missing out. And it was a good film. I give it like an 8.5, maybe 8.75 out of 10. I would recommend it. If you're a Marvel fan, you've probably already seen it. And if you're not a Marvel fan, you might like this one more than others. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Thanks for watching. Check out their video playlist on my head, or subscribe to me over there. Thanks.